Shake, shake. Okay. Do you think the rise in social media communication technology is responsible for the high incidence of fake news in Jos? What are your thoughts on it?
While I can say without missing words that the rise of social media activism and activities uh, has contributed negatively and positively in the rise of social cohesion and as well the crisis. When you look at it critically, there are some people that are eager to break the news without minding whether the authenticity of the news or otherwise, just to be the first that broke the news. So media has on the rising tensions and crises here and there that is happening in Jos, because so often places used to be quiet, there is no any tension or skirmishes, but just people will just go online because of its accessibility and availability. With just your 100 naira data, you can post whatever to uh, uh, to feed your sentiment and bias.
All right. Good thing. A round of applause for him, please. Now, good thing you mentioned bias. Mr. Bizum Yadok. Based solely on sentiments and personal biases, a lot of people are prone to spreading unfounded messages. Are there avenues available to the public for fact checking?
There are. And many times people, I don't know, maybe they have a burden with a lot of things to do or are too lazy to check. Now, for example, you just hear that Rukuba Road is on fire, isn't it? And before waiting for, for another person to say anything about it, the next thing you do is, my people, be careful, oh, Rukuba on fire, Rukuba on fire. Or double checking. For me, most times what I do is, if I hear something and it sounds too awkward, the first thing I do is to Google it. And when I Google, I don't just go to anyhow blog, because there are so many of those mushroom blogs around, right? There are reputable ones too. So, but for most of the time, I know that people who copy media. So maybe if I check with maybe Vanguard or This Day or Daily Trust or whatever newspaper, if I have at least 2 or 3, if you know someone around there, the first thing you do is call. Yesterday I was in Pangshin, and of course I knew I was coming here. So there was something, there's no road in Jos, so that around Polytechnic they killed some people, and some other people are there, have they started again, this and that. The first thing I did was, since I have a friend who works with the police, immediately to him, what's the situation? He said, we've heard that some people have been injured, this and that. He gave me everything about it. I'm sure by evening, the roads will be clear and everything, you know. But coming down home, I opened my Facebook and I just saw so many things, and then later things. Even though, yes, you have to rely on the mainstream media, but they can be misleading too. That's why I said, can make an objective opinion about something. I think that's one of the ways you can verify information.
All right, thank you, and thank you again. Mr. Gabriel, one question. Okay. How has social media been used by Nigerian youths to cause division, hate, and disruption of peace?
I think a lot has been said already that alludes to ways that, especially because one thing is, with social media, everyone is a journalist, everyone is a broadcaster. I mean, so there's ethics guiding this profession, but not everybody has the information. So everybody is quick to break the news and just put things up there without adhering to people's spaces. So they don't feel like, I mean, there's no barricade everything can just come to you where you are in real time. And so one way is that there's a gap in identity. There's identity crisis.
Yeah.
There's a loss of meaning, and there's a lot of loss of purpose. Zero in on their why. Why do they even exist? And so we would, and unfortunately, the populace. So people are walking around mindlessly without a clear sense of purpose.
Oh my.
And then
Meaningful.
you find that these kinds of people are gullible, and so anything that just comes to their doorsteps, they would spread, because that's what we call crowd mentality. And they are very eager to peddle prejudices, and also that reinforce certain stereotypical line of thought, and then that creates victims, and victimhood breeds crime. So it's just a vicious circle.
Thank you so much. Very resourceful and insightful there. Waiting? We've been waiting for you. What practical ways would you suggest to curb the rising incidence of fake news? What ways?
First and foremost, let me put it this way. If you're at home and somebody calls you, maybe from your brother's school, to say stolen somebody's property, and your brother, what would you do? The first you do is to try to get to your brother. Most people want to get to their brother first, and not your father or your mother. Because now, do we do that in every instance? We don't. That's why I said, ask yourself, check your humanity first. What's this I've just heard? There must be one or two people you can to spread bad news. You see, we are all Africans. There's a particular incident that happened some not long ago. Somebody died, and the village went to relay the message. And he just went there and just said, you people don't know. Your brother is dead. The woman just turned. Do you know what she did? She grabbed him before they could pull him. That's because he brought a bad way. Those of you who are students of history will know that there was a time when a Spartan kings, you were sent to deliver that message. He said yes. He just turned and said, execute him. The guy was executed. So when the news got, he said, yes, we sent him, not that he should deliver the message the way he did. Nobody is bigger than the message you're sent to deliver. So when you're on the social media, nobody is sending you to deliver a message. You're supposed to read, digest, and say, what's this? Could this be true? We don't ask. The fact that it's a new phase of colonialism. They twist your mind. Yes, there's mind twisting and mind bending. That's what's happening. When we see, we just say, this man is who don't drink alcohol, drink nothing, but they are drunk. They are drunk. Yes, they are drunk because their subconscious mind is under control. Their intuitive mind has been hijacked. And their human sensibilities has been wrecked. And there's this popular thing. Don't allow another man dump his garbage on you. That's why when you wake up in the morning, maybe you're driving, you come out, I see some people who are very, very edgy. Just excuse him. Step aside, let him go. Because there are people who walk around with their baggages, their garbage, and everything. They're waiting for who to dump it on. And you know what they do? The kind of news you hear about Africa is such that nobody has told the world that the whole of Europe put together is not as big as Africa. Map, they create the impression as if Europe is bigger. It's false. You can use your phones, Google. Landmass of Africa and the whole continent. You know where Africa is. Arable land and resources. See France, Germany, UK put together. They're nothing. They're not able to read. Just dump it on you and you take it. Every 150 people are shot dead. Americans don't carry it on their shoulders. They don't. Their system does not. They are forced to report it. Not because social media has working against them as well. So they cannot select and say, only for the ears of Americans. That's why we're here. In South Africa, every 2-3 women are raped in South Africa. Do you know that? Every 5 minutes. South Africans don't carry that news all over. But come to Jos, something happened. Here one shake here, You hear one pastor there, as if we have thrown away the simple basic thing that makes life the same for either you're a black or a white man. And somebody called you a black man. Let's talk about identity crisis now. Why? He calls you a black man. You take it. Call him a pinky. He won't take it. Black market. We must begin to see things from that perspective. So the server, what are you regulating here? My case, Apple came out with a software on their phones to say, look, this is for pedophiles. But the same society have turned against it. Not on our rights, but when they come to Africa, our governors, whatever, all of them would prefer to sit with a Chinese man who basically cannot speak English. Give him contrast. See, that's why human mentality is to do what? Is to make sure the black man loses his sense of being. For people who are students of art, every black color you see is a combination of all the colors. So what insult you? And we want to work with it is because we have accepted to absorb, to consume bad news, and then what do you think we're going to expel?
Okay. All right. Thank you very much. A round of applause, please, for that one. We're gradually rolling into the end of this beautiful session. Anita, honest assessment of the recurring conflict in Nigeria, and are there ways by which we can achieve peaceful coexistence?
Take that question again.
Yes, like what is your honest across Nigeria, particularly Jos, and are there ways by which we can actually achieve peace?
My honest ideas.
Assessment.
Assessment.
Yeah.
First of all, there's our infancy and everything is messed up. It's corruption, lack of education and corruption. And a lot where young people like this young writer and Prince Madu and the rest of the youth around here, attitude towards work, looking for money and stuff. Look, I really don't like talking about government, what to expect from government and everything. Like Mr. Etim pointed out, we've reached a stage where we have to start looking inwards. We're talking about black. Everybody's morning begins with blackness. So black is a part of us. I'm proud to be black. I'm proud I'm black. You know, even if it's a light-skinned person, I'm proud to be black, you know. Now, another way we can curb is something that every other commentator here, we need to educate people, everybody, about what the characteristics of fake news looks like. Let me just give you a small rundown. I've just got a few. First of all, fake news will always have a bias. Don't forget that any news coming out that is not correct or is supposed to be fake news is either economically biased. So it is either the marketer is trying to market his products and convincing you that somebody else is not good enough, or either of the parties is trying to teach you about the strong feelings. You should check for the news source. Most of these sources are unfamiliar to the basic traditional news sources that we have here in every nation or every community. Now, a lot of these funny platforms, they have what they call nonsensical news, like Scooper. Those people they scoop a lot. The Scooper author, are they reputable? Are they established? Are they known to be a trustworthy source? Fake news, the authors never use their names. Now, something else again I think that the government should do. The government needs to be able to promote news literacy and strong professional journalism, media and news, make sure they provide, if there's not too much corruption there, provide a high quality and correct fake news at the right time without legitimizing them.
Okay.
Sorry, one more point. They need to be able to find ways to regulate. Look, everybody is a journalist, really. You don't have to go to school to be able to. I can be a blog person who fancies. So everybody is a journalist. You understand what I'm trying to say? So I think that technologies will expect technology news that incites riots or violence.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Anita. All right. Finally, we'll go to the last question for Amama Jan. Then we'll take one question from the audience, a group photograph, and we will call it a day. All right, Mr. Ben Amama. You have a lot of followers. Let me put it that way. You have a lot of people who follow. Getting this topic today, social media for peace. What is that thing in your heart that you really love to say to them?
Okay, is that we have to compose really be ambassadors of peace, not just in words, but a thing he said in our doings is the recent live it. I have someone, he's older than me, he's over 10 years older than me, and sometimes what he does that I do not like, and I tell him, I don't know, I can't walk past 2 people or 3 people having a disagreement. I'm not saying fighting necessarily. Actually influence like, okay, hey, you don't have to disagree on this. Let's try and sort this out. Maybe a man and a woman, an older man, younger guy, maybe things you can actually interfere, do you understand, in to prevent it from escalating, and you'd like, no, let's keep going. Do you understand? So little acts of kindness, little acts of, do you understand, humanity, do you understand? I mean, stopping things that would have actually, escalated from like small disagreements to things that will lead to deaths of people, maybe even become as big as skirmish. Let's stop posting online only. Let's start doing it. Let's start living it. You don't have to be given an award by the government or UN or anyone as a peace ambassador before you start, showing the peace. You have to live it. You have to sleep, go to bed, and wake up every day praying and doing your own little part. We keep the peace. And I always hold one view. I tell people, as a Christian, I say the Bible is true, but not every truth is recorded in the Bible. And if you go into deep Christianity again, they'll tell you some writings that you don't find in this current Bible. You have them in other deep Bibles and stuff like that. For example, one of our biggest problems have always been ethno-religious. So I don't have to have them as friends, or I'm not from this religion, I don't have to have them as friends. I still connect with some of my friends till date. Where I was born in a slums where I tell them, you know what, we have to gather all these youths, talk to them, and get them in a forum. Because sometimes I think we've not really gotten down to what these problems are. Hear that maybe they kill a Fulani person, the next thing in Jos, there will be reprisals. If it happens in Jos, there will be reprisals. So let us get down to the roots. Let's try to find out why these things continue to happen. And most of these people are people who do, maybe like someone said, education, knowledge is light, knowledge is power. If you don't have knowledge, these things, you have to get these guys that are unemployed or people who are not very educated, even on forums like this, or go to these communities, see them, talk to them. For example, we are here right now. Do you understand? So we have to get these people to be actively involved, to understand that when these things, I bought some things yesterday from a Fulani guy, he's my customer. And I call me, I'll still buy. If you want to go by this narrative, like someone was saying, I'm a Christian, I can't buy from the Muslim, or I'm a Muslim, I can't buy from the Christian. Trust me, we'll continue to hate each other. Do you understand? So we must learn to love ourselves. We must not just be doing it for show like we are here right now. People that understand the significance of forums like this are here, for example. There are a lot of persons right now, maybe parties going on, or other entertaining events, they prefer to be there. But if we continue to push and sell these narratives for people to start living this kind of lives, and a very, very long way in reducing hate. Because I think everything starts from the heart. If you carry hate in your heart, I hate this tribe, I hate this religion, you would not want to even think about it twice before you kill someone. But if you begin to understand that, allowing love lead and more prosperity. If today they start violence or crisis, everyone will lock their shops. The Christians lose, the Muslims lose. Justice linked to get. There are a lot of states that were way below just. But today, you can't boast rather of anything you say. And part of maybe the business is why some of them don't grow, is because of the fact that people are scared of investing. People are leaving instead of coming because people are scared. Do you understand? So if we don't make this work, honestly, our businesses will fail. So let us just love ourselves. Let us just try to understand ourselves better and try to kill that thing that's actually been buried in our hearts that is called hate. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you so much. One question from the audience. All right. You.
Thank you. Thank you. And there's one thing we believe where I'm coming from our organization. As long as you're able to save one person from ignorance, you've done a lot. And this for me means a lot. I sat here, I listened to a lot of concepts that, oh yeah, I knew, but I didn't really know that. You know, a lot of people knew it, and it was quite enlightening for me. But while I was listening, I learned a lot, but I was also faced with some kind of feeling of helplessness. You know, while we started this conversation, they said that there are a lot of powers that are actually behind everything that is going on. Even social media is owned by a lot of people that are actually trying to control the populace. And these people have the advantage of education, they have the advantage of have the, you know, they have what it takes to manipulate the population. One thing we have is majority. I listen here is we're trying to appeal to the population to begin to think. But looking at where these people in control are coming from, there's this little helplessness I have within me. Can we really battle these powers? Do we have what it takes? And that brings me to another question. One thing that really resonated with everybody that I'm really glad I enjoyed this insight, but there's something I noticed. All of us seated here have little faith in the government, especially the Nigerian government, from everything that everybody was saying. But there's something that stood out. When it comes to regulation of social media, somehow we trust that the government can regulate social. So if we really don't have faith in them, how are we sure that regulation is not going to further marginalize this population? Remember, one of the things that push young people to social media is the fact that we don't have a voice. So social media has given us access to international, you know, the international space. If I cannot speak from, but when you say regulate, I'm just using him, but I'm talking about power to regulate social media. Can we actually trust that this is not going to be used again as a tool for marginalization? That's my question. Thank you.
Sorry. Okay. Okay. Go ahead.
Very quickly, I'll just add that I think the biggest take home for anyone here should be that it's a double-edged sword, and it depends on how you use it, right? But I think also in response to that feeling of helplessness, one quote comes to mind, and anybody quotes by Franz Fanon. He says, every generation out of relative obscurity must discover its meaning. Out of sheer hopelessness, discover what we're put in this world, in this time and age to accomplish, and not rest until we fulfill it. So that's my advice.
Um, let me put it this way. Which would you prefer? Or to have your mind twisted? Which is more of an infraction on your person and your humanity and your dignity? Which one? Can't biggest way is to torture any room, no communication, no light, a dark room, leave him there. He will die slowly. But if you want him, yeah, yes. But here, we have a system where we were taken into slavery there, across the seas. Now they have come with a new way to twist your they want. But there's another problem there. Their own society is also a more open society. You're talking about regulation. Trump tried it. European Union, they're trying on the same thing. Social media, how is the problem here? Those of you who understand and students, what do you think would have happened in World War? Exactly. So what I'm trying to say here is, see, so look at your time now and ask yourself, what are the opportunities and privileges I have today in health, in economics, everything cannot be described. Yet you don't want it. You want to be spoon-fed. Some of Africans, we want to be spoon-fed. We do what our governments do. Go to Europe, ask for loans. Let me give you a classic example. Hong Kong, some 10 years back, as soon as they were handing Hong Kong over, before they handed Hong Kong over back to China, the government there said, look, gentlemen, there's too much money in circulation. So for you who are public servants, we'll introduce a contributory pension scheme. In 2 years, Hong Kongers were able to, in this country today. You and I prefer European League. Everything outside is what trips you. Nothing here trips you. League, Championship League, that's all. Is it Big Brother Africa, whatever, Big Brother Nigeria? The point is, every time, do you know how much that program produces? You see, let me tell you something. We must learn to stand where we are and ask and teach our own. That America is better than Nigeria is not true. I'm not going to go to a country where I walk into a shop, I'm scared because some madman. I don't know why some of you watch what happened in that university. Is that what is? You think that's what will take me to Russia? You see, we have everything it takes here. Just be in control of your mind, body, and spirit.
Okay.
Take humanity. That fear that you talked about, that hopelessness will go. And there's something else. We have become a country of people who don't give. If you don't give, I pray from yourself that the duty, the joy they have inside when they give cannot be described.
All right. Thank you for giving to us today. All right. Anita, let's take a group photograph and let's go. Okay, so Anita.
Just very, very brief. Sorry, what's your name again? Kauna. No, beautiful name. Kauna, I want to address, if I explained that to you, but if we here, because we started up this government thing, government is not to be trusted and stuff, why would you say government has to regulate? Let me tell you, in any community, in any group of people, 1, 2, 3, they have a group. So whether it's 2, 3 people, it becomes a family becomes a community becomes a local government, and there has to be a say. We're not trying to say that, oh, we don't trust the government, but we want government. No, what we're trying to say is that the government should try and do the right thing. That's all we're saying. So we are almost as helpless as you, but not that helpless, because we know that, like every inwards, it has to be us. Thank you, and I'm so happy I'm the last person to
Thank
finish this.
you, Anita. So I want to say a big thank you on behalf of Young Man Africa, on behalf of Just Town Ambassadors. It was a wonderful outing. You've all been awesome listeners, and I believe you'll come again when we ask you to. So thank you, and keep the peace. Okay. Let's all come to the front where we'll have our group photo. Supreme, peace. I know you guys are itching to go, but let's do it. Hello, Zara. All right, please join us here. Let's take a group photo. Okay, Slim, are you ready for us? Group photo. Yes, please come to the middle. Okay. Come on. Come on. Everybody say peace. Don't worry.